walks. It feels like when you've got this big body at 6'4", 205, he's built in the pitcher's lap, right? When he's in the zone, he's at his best.
He starts Morris off with a called strike, and we are underway. Highfield with a breaking ball. Morris sends it out to the gap into right center field. Tracking it from center is Eli Serrano III. Serrano, a sophomore, the everyday center fielder after being their first baseman as a freshman a year ago. That now is occupied by Garrett Pennington, who made his way over from Wichita State. Transfers everywhere, it seems. Alec Makarevich at third. Came from East Carolina. Brandon Butterworth at shortstop. A Western Carolina transfer.
Love that we highlighted Serrano early. That's a really difficult play in the gap. That's Zach Morris at the top of this Duke lineup. Another transfer from VMI. That ball was peppered, and he steals extra bases.
Ben Miller looks at a couple. That's a bit unusual for him. He swings at the first pitch about 55-60% of the time this season.
With a mustache like that, it's all about first impressions in life. He delivers the best.
Takes a good hack. Now he's got 2 balls and 1 strike.
I mean, seriously, fireman by day, All-American by night. But I've loved the sequence so far from Highfield. Challenges him with a fastball up. I mean, this is a kid that you can't stick to tendency because he's mashed everything to this point in the season.
The 2-1 lofted out of play. We're evened up 2-2. Ben Miller, an even .500 on base percentage this season. The 2-2 hit him near the hip. That one just got away from Highfield, and it puts a runner on with 1 away.
When you see, you got to execute an inside fastball perfectly, right? You mentioned the OBP. That's going to continue to skyrocket after his 5th hit by pitch of the season. But to me, slugging over 800 already into the 3rd weekend of ACC play is unheard of, right? So for a guy that's got 17 extra base hits, 9 homers, and those 8 doubles, for me, inverted 8 homers and 9 doubles. For me, like, you have to be so particular in how you pitch Miller right now. I mean, he's covering both sides of the plate.
Gracia squares to bunt, fouls it away. Okay, so maybe a sacrifice here in the top of the 1st inning, an indicator that Chris Pollard might not think this one's going to be too high scoring.
Well, they took our hey, by the way, we're 4th in the country in homers, and we'll beat you small ball too. To me, with NC State shifting as they did, I think that was 1 for me, 2 for you, right? 1 is a bunt for a hit, maybe 2 is a sacrifice, but with NC State still shifting the young freshman pretty heavily to the right side, I think that was Gracia trying to steal a base knock.
Gracia has been remarkable early in his career, just a freshman for this Duke team. Fouls it away 1-2. One of the smoother left-handed swings that I think I've seen. Something about a left-handed swing, it just feels more artistic.
So let me take you into the time portal. I'm in the building the day he goes 3 against Coastal Carolina. It's 3 at Coastal Carolina against George Mason. And after the game, I go, hey, man, is there a player comp and inspo for you? Because the swing looks just like Carlos Gonzalez of the Colorado Rockies. He goes, never heard of him. I go, oh, am I that old? No. But he's got a hat trick. He had never hit 3 home runs in his entire life. He does it in his 2nd career collegiate game. His 1st hit is a home run. But when you watch the big finish, he's a guy that likes to get his hands extended out over the plate. And it's really raw power from just a teenager.
Goes the other way, lifts it high into the air, down the line. Josh Hogue is there to make the grab. And that's 2 away. It'll keep the runner at 1st.
Well, you like the ability to go the other way there. Takes a fastball out and elevated over the plate. Gets that front foot down a little bit late, but sends Hogue all the way back to the warning track. You can see there's that raw power we were talking about.
Yeah, and that's a part of the yard that was not containing baseballs on Tuesday against Coastal Carolina. 2 down, 1 on for Logan Bravo now for the Blue Devils.
Glad you brought that up there, and you guys did an elegant job of painting what was an unbelievably roller coaster matchup. It was like an Oprah talk show. Everyone got a homer. You get one, sure. It was a heck of a matchup and super, I think, important for the confidence of the Wolfpack going into their third ACC weekend to walk away with a big dub.
Now 2 strikes for Highfill on Logan Bravo. Another one of those transfers for Chris Pollard here at Duke. Another one of the Ivy League grad transfers. He's done an admirable job at first base for Duke.
That pipeline, when you think about Charlie Bielenson, who broke the Duke single season appearance record last year, Bravo over at first, Ben Miller over at third. Not only have they done a good job of finding really good ball players, but perfect fits for that culture.
Highfill a chance at a clean top of the first inning with 2 strikes. Gets a called strike 3. State, this is a very left-handed NC State lineup. Something to keep an eye on with the lefty Santucci as he misses over the top 1-0 to Hogue.
I've already told you it's a 2-pitch mix, and with 6 lefties in the lineup there for the NC State, get ready for a healthy dosage of that nasty 8-4 slider action.
It was Heater to get a miss of the zone inside 3-0. Four pitches, 4 balls, and a leadoff walk for the Wolfpack. Josh Hogue over to first. Up comes Garrett Pennington.
Well, a little bit of a rare instance where that's just the 14th walk on the season for Santucci, but Hogue, another guy that doesn't strike out a ton, doesn't walk a lot either. He goes, hey, 95, 96, I got no problem with my free 90 to start this one.
So here is the right-handed batter, Pennington. A miss with the breaking ball for Santucci. That's now 5 consecutive outside of the zone to start. Went for the back foot with the slider.
That's a better miss to the Wichita State transfer. He knows he's super aggressive. You don't want to cave in and just deliver a fastball out over the plate because this guy can do damage.
And another 3-0.
Santucci thankful that we're not at Bluebell Park out at Texas A&M where the ball 7 chance would be raining down, but a rare start to this one.
There's his first strike. It makes it 3-1.
I like the pace he's working at, but those early misses were all up in the zone. And I think Chris Pollard probably saw the mechanical fix where it's like you almost want to see him reach down, get downhill, and throw it through Stone's chest.
Induces a foul ball. Now a full count to Pennington. Santucci really has only been affected at the beginning of a start of his once. And that would have been the first ACC weekend against Wake Forest. Now pitch number 7 to Pennington. Called strike 3, got the inner corner.
Well, there's the difference between the good and the great, right? How about this response? Look at this fastball. It showed you 8th in the entire country in punches, and I'll tell you why. When you're working off a 2-pitch mix, it's your ability to not just throw 95, 96, but it's able to throw it on both sides of the plate, and to the dismay of Pennington, a little bit of a shocked face, Home Alone-esque. I'm telling you, I don't think he thought they caught the corner.
Stone keeps it near, but not near enough. Hogue able to advance to second base on the slider gone awry. So man in scoring position for Alec Makarevich, who a switch hitter, is in the right-handed batter's box to face the lefty Santucci. Now a 1-1. Makarevich with Jacob Cozart waiting in the on-deck circle.
Makarevich, one of the more sought-after transfer portal guys, doing it kind of more the old-fashioned way from a grad transfer perspective, but a dude that's caused a lot of havoc towards these two bowl clubs, NC State and Duke, respectively, from his time at ECU.
Called strike for Santucci, and another chance with 2 strikes on the opposing batter. Chases Makarevich. Can't connect. It's the second punch out for Santucci, and there are 2 away.
So interesting being a switch hitter in this spot. With Santucci on the bump, if Makarevich is in that left-handed batter's box, he probably goes to the slider. So he's sitting all over this fastball. This is almost a preconceived, before Santucci even releases, he goes, hey, I'm hitting 425 with runners in scoring position. I'm going to go put a dent in the scoreboard early. Santucci takes advantage of the aggressiveness, punches away his second batter.
Jacob Cozart, highly touted entering this season. Six home runs, an OPS nearing 1,200. Waves and misses. Just got a piece of it, 1-2.
You mentioned his patience at the plate. About 22 walks to just 13 strikeouts. Really difficult to punch out, but he's going to have to battle in a tough spot here.
Santucci gets another strikeout. And Macon Winslow, 5-6-7 in the order. First pitch a breaker taken by Stone, 1-0.
Big swing. Doesn't it feel like, even though Stone's gotten off to a little bit of a slower start at the plate, a guy that I think a lot of us in the college baseball community were shocked didn't get a call late last June, he still feels like their fabric, their backbone to everything that they try to do offensively. And
sends it high up into the air into center field. Serrano, shy of the track, makes the catch, and it retires Stone, who, look, has been committed to Duke to play baseball since he was 16 years old. Now a senior at this program. You're right, we talked about their experience with the transfers that they've hit on, but he's very much within that fabric, a guy who's been there for the entire ride.
The guy, right? And as he hit a ball about 395 feet to dead center field, I thought I willed himself out of the ballpark. So I held my breath. But it only takes a matter of time for a guy like that to just feel, maybe is it mechanical, the swing looks great, or maybe it's just really good ACC pitching. But hitting's contagious.
Andrew Yu lines one up the middle and gets the first hit of the day for either side. Yu getting the call as the designated hitter today for the Blue Devils.
How about that? Just his 4th start of the season, all coming in that designated hitter spot. Maybe there was something in that scouting report with Highfield on the bump. Like maybe Coach Pollard saw something in the swing. He's rewarded the young man who's taken advantage of every opportunity he's gotten in those pinch hitting spots. That is 11th hit of the season, and Yu stays hot.
Now man on for Macon Winslow, who they've really gotten a positive early impression of with this Duke program. Earning the start in left field. It's his 20th of the season.
This is a young man who isn't familiar. They said he was defensively ready to catch, probably as a junior in high school. I mean, this was maybe one of the most sought-after defensive catchers in the country. Played some outfield and traveling in high school, but he was the guy behind the plate. Can't take the bat out of the lineup, though.
Another breaking ball misses high for Highfield. You know, come to think of it, we started this frame with Alex Stone, the actual catcher for Duke. Andrew Yu is the DH, touted in sort of a similar way as a defensive catcher, a really good backstop for the program, and now we've got Winslow here.
Well, I'm so glad a lot of people in the country, when you look down in Baton Rouge, they've got 3 catchers and they don't know what to do with them. I make the argument that so does Duke, right? But you keep hitting, you find a way to get in the lineup. But defensively, you know that you're in a good place. And how cool is it for a guy like Macon Winslow to learn from Stone, right? Like, hey, not only is it about being able to receive and throw guys out, but that chemistry between that rotation, I mean, he's going to be surely a problem behind the plate for ACC opponents for years to come.
Fights one off in on the hands. 2-2 still to Macon Winslow. Highfield's breaking ball is rocketed into left field. Winslow with a knock, consecutive hits, and the Blue Devils with 2 on and 1 away.
Well, it's a backed-up breaking ball, and back-to-back at-bats to the backup catchers. They get hanging breaking balls out of the plate. Look at the discipline here. It's a high leg kick guy, but everything is channeled through that back hip. Just because he guesses wrong, right? He's sitting on a fastball. He gets the foot down early, but it doesn't matter because he stays engaged in that back hip, and that ball is absolutely peppered into left field. That sure as heck doesn't look like a freshman. It didn't look like a freshman swing either.
2 aboard for Devin Obie. Big swing on the first pitch. Obie, another person in this Duke lineup who has sort of bided his time. 22nd start of the season for Duke. Nice stop by Jacob Cozart there. He got the Tuesday midweek game against Coastal Carolina off from catching duties. That was the freshman Alex Sosa, who's the DH in the lineup today for the Wolfpack. Obie swings through and now has 2 strikes.
He's the best fastball of the day from Highfield that we've seen. Obie, who's a kid that he was defensively pegged as that center fielder at the beginning of the season because he can cover an insane amount of ground. I'm going to nerd out. Catapult system had him up to 21 miles per hour registered. That's insane. Like, that doesn't, I mean, it's Tyreek Hill speed, right? So no fly zone in center field. I think they've been really pleasantly surprised to see what he's been able to do to the bat. Not that he doesn't capable of hitting 350, but the discipline at the plate too to slug over 580 in the 8-hole seems a little unfair.
Highfield off the mark with the 2-2. Now a full count to Obie, who, as you allude to, the raw ability at the plate, the swing and a miss is what has sort of hindered him from being an everyday player to this point. 7 walks to 23 strikeouts this season. Good eye there. Draws the walk and loads the base paths.
And on cue, right? We will a little discipline down into the box, but that's a really nice breaking ball on the back foot. Frankly, it was that pitch that ruined my career. I couldn't hit that, couldn't see the spin. 3-2. Come on, challenge me to the fastball. I'm in the 8-hole. But to your point, the swing and miss type stuff, he's got already 5 home runs on the season. For me with Obie, I think it's all about like staying within yourself, understanding that your identity, hey, I am going to swing and miss, but I'll take a punchy if it means I can run a ball into the gaps. And for him, a kid with his speed, understanding that, hey, a ground ball on the left side here, I can beat something out. Like, that's going to come with time, and I know that he's an upperclassman, but also doesn't have a ton of playing time yet.
First pitch skied into the left by Wallace Clark with the bags full. Hogue catches. In from third comes Yu, and the sac fly gives Duke the first lead at 1-0.
It's a good piece of hitting from Wallace Clark, just better pitching from Highfield. I think you sacrifice the sac fly in a sense, give up an out. Double play stays within order, but Wallace Clark doesn't get too big, doesn't try to get out of himself. His 17th RBI of the season gives us our first run of the ballgame.
And that finalizes the first time through the order for the Blue Devils. Zach Morris with his second plate appearance. High Phil. Ooh, move back to second. Wow, that throw was awfully close to the runner Winslow, which you would think would make it difficult for Brandon Butterworth, the shortstop, to glove, but he managed to squeeze it and keep it from going out into center field.
Well, he gets Winslow. It's not a timing pick by any means, but with the pitch clock violation, you don't want to get registered for that one. Maybe they mix one in late to try to steal the third out of the inning, but I'm interested because you're right. Butterworth catches that ball blindly, it kind of looked like from upstairs.
Now a 3-0 to Zach Morris.
Morris has gotten off to a blistering start. Mentioned being a transfer from VMI. He hit 2, 3, 4. He's the perfect leadoff guy to kind of fill in into some lofty shoes that were left this season ago at that position. And he's slowly become a fan favorite because there's not a whole lot of pop in the country that you'll find in the top of the lineup. But I mean, leadoff guys slug over 600. It's kind of stupid. And he's been able to do it his entire career.
I feel the 3-1 gets it fouled back. Now a full count with 2 away and 2 on. Yeah, Morris in place of Jay Bashirs, who spent just 1 season with the Blue Devils after being a transfer from Northwestern. But man, talk about the impact he made last year. A really great performer in that great season that the Blue Devils had. High Phil gets a called strike 3. It's center field as well. Pretty strong defensive group. Jonathan Santucci begins. Eli Serrano with the ball. 1-0 the count. Santucci in his opening frame of work threw 7 consecutive balls. Walked the leadoff batter on 4 pitches, then got himself to a 3-0 situation. Came back there to strike out the second batter, Garrett Pennington, and casually punched out the next 2 and got out with a clean frame.
Intent, right? Even 7 balls in, there was every bit of it was intent. And those first 7 misses were high up out of the zone. It's, like we said, it don't want to sound like a broken record, but the difference between the good and the great are not only able to make adjustments on a day that may not even have their best stuff, but they make them on the fly.
Oh, did he get him to come around? Yes, he did. Adam Dowdy, the home plate umpire, indicates. And Serrano is down on strikes. That's 4 consecutive batters struck out by Santucci.
So this breaking ball just absolutely falls off the table. I mean, watch the action. It starts on the front hip, ends up in the right-handed batter's box. Right? We mentioned those 6 lefties today. This might become a common theme because you can see you're go, trying to protect with 2 strikes, and that ball just drops out the bottom. I mean, that's next to Hagen Smith maybe at Arkansas. This is maybe the best lefty breaking ball in the country, folks.
Not bad. 95 painted on the outside edge as well. Now 1-1 to Alex Sosa, the DH in the lineup for NC State today. Rips it down the line. True hop for Bravo, who makes the play. There are 2 down.
I like how Sosa doesn't even allow him to get to 2 strikes, right? A guy just making his 6th start of the season goes, hey, I know that the breaking ball is good. I don't even want to see it. And I think that's what the lefty adjustment's going to be moving forward. Like, hey, I see spin early, fine, but I cannot be late on a breaking ball, or I cannot be late on a fastball, excuse me. Does a good job getting there early, but at 95, a little bit of arm side run, a little 2-seam action. Even when you're early, still late.
Now 1-1 to Brandon Butterworth. Is that not the danger in facing Santucci, and also the advantage that he provides, though? Because if you act too quickly like that, it can be a short day, and suddenly you start, as hitters, if you're getting out that way, you start shortening the outing, or lengthening the outing rather, by shortening the number of pitches.
Right, you almost want to pick and choose your battles. You mentioned that Wake Forest start. To your point, that was Coach Walter and Wake's identity that night. Hey, 20 pitches in the first inning, let's go 15 or more. That's a quality at bat. If everybody gets in the box, sees 5 pitches, he's done by the 6th. We'll test our luck with somebody in that pen.
Brandon Butterworth pops it up into the outfield. Devin Obie, a long time to think about. A hot commodity when it came to open coaching jobs has been Miller since the first pitch off the wall in center field. Here's another extra base hit for the Blue Devils third baseman.
Speaking of hot commodity, think that got off the bat a little sizzling? His 10th double of the year was absolutely sizzled out the dead center. I mean, he's just inches away from his 9th homer of the year, but you want to talk about being on time with a heater. That was clinical.
What did we say in the first inning when he took the first two? He swings at the first pitch not quite 60% of the time. That's why. Because he's confident that he can get something he can jump on.
Right, and with good hitters like that, when you talk about approach, sometimes I'm not even sitting a pitch, I'm just sitting a spot. So for Miller, like I would be willing to bet he doesn't go up looking just for fastball. If he can get something elevated in the zone, he's going to get the foot down and party.
An immediate runner in scoring position for A.J. Gracia, who is 0 for 1, a fly ball to left his first time. Leaves a couple, it's a 1-1.
I'm curious. I mean, he is your 3-hole, right? And the youngster's gotten off to a big start, slugging over 670. I wonder if we see another bunt here. Down the third base side, you've got Makarovich playing deep. Hey, does it a bunt for a hit? Is it a move a guy?
Breaking ball slides right in for Highfield to make it 1-2.
Gives us our answer quickly.
Yeah. No bunt.
There you go. No bunt. You dumb. Let's elevate and celebrate, dude.
Gracia did not come around, as indicated by the check over to J.R. Brown, our official at third base.
For Gracia with 2 strikes, you're just trying to pull something on the right side, advance Miller.
Pitch outside. Highfield makes it tough to do, but he also fulls up the count.
That's exactly what this sequence has been, right? Like we talked about just a half inning ago, they've really strained Highfield. Pitch count up over 46 already, still looking for an out here in the third.
Gracia lifts it. Left center field. Serrano there for the catch, and Miller stays put at second base.
And you know what was interesting? He had showcased that breaking ball. He's got the get me over breaking ball to throw for a strike. He's got the sharper slider. I think that's one of the first changeups we've seen today.
Yeah, and that is what most would consider to be his premier pitch.
Right, that bread and butter to a lefty. He showcased it. Now you hide that premier pitch to get to the second time through the lineup, and I think now you're going to start to see him go to it early in counts. 0-2, it's a punch-out pitch for him, but maybe the second time through lineup, does he go to that changeup more often?
First one swung on by Bravo, foul territory and out of play. Maybe a clean catch by a fan based on the reaction over there down the first base line.
We got a couple hat tips in the NC State dugout, too. I think he may have caught it with the hat. Are you kidding me? Get that guy a glove. Let's go.
So Bravo, a quick 0-1. Struck out looking his first time up. That retired the side in the first.
He's worked both sides of the plate really cleanly today. We even saw in that last at-bat with Gracia. Those fastballs 1-2, 2-2 away were to set up that changeup away to get him to fly out to left center. And you know, the 4.9 ERA, throw it out the window. Conference play is all that matters. If he can get you to lean out over the plate like he does there with Bravo, right? I know the count moves to 2-1, but every pitch is thrown with intention. I know I've said it a couple times today. So now watch him try to get maybe in on the hands of a larger body in Bravo who likes to get extended out over the plate.
Highfield coming off of a good start against Georgia Tech. As Bravo fouls it away, evens the count at 2-2. Elliot Avent told us when we spoke to him earlier this week that Highfill against the Yellow Jackets in Atlanta looked something like the old days, which is obviously ideal for the Wolfpack, something they would like to get Sam back to as their Friday guy. Bravo did not go around. Another full count.
I think that's the big question, right? For the mayor, how do you tap into that kind of underclassmen gold you were able to reap? Is a lot of it maybe battle-tested, injury-ridden, right? Or is it maybe just alleviating the pressure and going, hey, I got a lot of help in the back end. Let's just go have some fun and treat it like you're playing wiffle ball in the backyard.
Payoff foul back into the backstop.
And again, the stuff looks good today, right? But 7th pitch of the at-bat already. Duke, for all of the accolades and numbers that we can derive from, they just are so disciplined. They're so tough to get out. And it doesn't matter if it's fastball, breaking ball. Talk about Coach Pollard coming out of the break. Like, they've committed a standard of excellence, and it started with at-bats like this, right? We're going to buy into the blueprint. I'm not going to miss on a fastball up in the zone. If I fight to see another pitch, great. They want to be the Duke that's, sure, we're the private school, come from big money. There's a reason they throw on a hard hat after home runs. He wants to be known as a blue-collar program, and he has found guys that fit that mold.
This will be pitch number 8 to Logan Bravo, longest at bat for a Duke player today, and he swings and misses for strike 3. So Sam Highfill, who is exceptional throughout his career with base runners on, gave up the leadoff double. Now he's got 2 away.
Great job behind the plate from Cozart to hold on. But again, it's not that it's just an elevated fastball, and he's sustained right around 90-91 so far this entire outing. But how about that two-seam run? Gets in on the hands a little bit. Big-time punchy.
Another first pitch swing for a Blue Devil batter, Alex Stone, with an 0-1.
Learn a lot about Highfill this inning. Leadoff double to Miller, and then he's going to work out of the jam that he created in just one pitch. But this feels like, I know a lot of baseball left, but this feels like a big moment in the game.
Skyward into right, shy of the track, and he gets Alex Stone to fly out and strand that runner after a leadoff. Noah Souls, Luke Nixon. Souls lays down a bunt, well placed. Ben Miller scoops it up and delivers a throw to first for the out.
Baseball stuff. I love it. The lefty in the box at the bottom of the lineup. Hey, let's try to steal a hit here. There's a reason that we put the camera on that beautiful mustache of the Penn transfer just an inning ago. How about this? In one motion. And he's not even playing in, right? This is all instinctual. Right, one sweep in motion. Arenado S, sure.
Miss up above the zone to Luke Nixon. Well, we talked about it as we came on today. Ben Miller, for as impressive as he's been at the plate, has been rock solid over there at the hot corner.
Done it for a long time at that position. You're at Penn right now. White Hensler's a kid that just broke the Ivy League home run record. He plays third now for Penn, but displaced him, played second. Miller played third, played first. His versatility, I think, with the glove, and really in the lineup, too. You can hit him, too. He's got the thump to hit 4. But his ability to then go play third, and sure, we'll put you out in shallow right for a shift.
So now Wallace Clark, the shortstop for Duke, all by himself on that left side of the infield. With 2 strikes on the left-handed hitting Luke Nixon. Just off the mark, it's ball 4. Nixon, the second base runner of the day for NC State, both via the walk.
An interesting pitch choice there, 3-2. You're surprised maybe he doesn't challenge him with a heater in the bottom of the lineup. I think that was almost like a guy on the mound kind of toying with his spray a little bit. Like, hey, yeah, I can throw that front shoulder breaking ball and back it up on you, too. That was a really good spot. I think it kind of surprised everybody behind the plate.
Now back to the top of the order. Josh Hogue looks at one low. He walked on 4 pitches to lead off the game, so not a look at Santucci to begin this game that I think anyone would characterize as typical. But now here it is, 2-0.
You know what's been interesting too, watching from afar, watching Hogue, he's not a guy that you necessarily shift. He's got the ability to beat you at all sides of the field. Yet Duke right now has got Clark playing behind second base. You know, with just an out in the inning, they're in double play depth, so he'll have to field that throw from Miller. It's an interesting spot because I think you shift even guys you don't necessarily shift because of Santucci on the mound.
Hogue unable to catch up there. 94 miles per hour with the fastball makes it 2-2. Now they're going to intensify the shift. And there it goes, right to Miller, a chance at 2. He flips. Miller's throw, rather, to first, not in time. It was started by Wallace Clark.
Bravo wants them to take a second look at it. Hogue can really get down the line. You be the judge at home, but to me, right, you mentioned intensifying the shift. A pitch ago, that's a base hit through the 6-hole.
Yeah.
Right, but because they send Miller over, they get Clark a little bit closer to that 6-hole. Hogue has the ability to hit to all sides of the field. When I mentioned Santucci, you can intensify shifts and you can get creative because when you see it at the extent at the big league level, you have the ability to have guys pitch into the shift. He's a big league guy, thus your ability to get creative in those spots.
The rare righty in the lineup for NC State, Garrett Pennington, with a hitter's count now at 2-0.
I love that big swing. I know if you're at home and you're like, hey, you want to get really disciplined with a guy with high velo, live and die by the leg kick, right? And his, like we talk, that's his timing mechanism. There's no choke up. Everything's a big swing, but it's organized chaos. Every swing looks like he's trying to leave the yard, but it's also under control because with that big leg kick, as long as he gets down early, you know, we mentioned his bat path is in the zone for it feels like an hour and a half. That's why he's got the ability to such power to all sides of the field.
The 3-1 misses inside, bounces away from Stone, but they'll be at first and second either way, so nothing to panic about. Third walk of the day for Santucci, second in the last 4 batters.
Well, this feels like a moment where NC State can kind of implant themselves and go, hey, we're here to stay a little bit. Maybe knock out Santucci in this ballgame earlier, but a dude that's hitting .415 with runners in scoring position, how about .360 with 2 outs? There's a reason that the East Carolina transfer is hitting right in the heart of that lineup.
Makarevich, 35 RBIs for NC State. That leads the team by a mile, but he's got an 0-2 here. Hard hit up the middle. Easy play up the middle, and it retires the side. So Santucci strands a couple of Wolfpack base runners and gets out unscathed. One to nothing affair so far here in Raleigh. And that man right there, Elliott Avent, on the low side of the 1-0 game as Wolfpack hitless to this point, but playing some solid defense behind their starting pitcher, Sam Highfill. Nearly 3 decades with the Wolfpack program for Avent. A guy who truly has seen it all.
2021 year, you saw a couple new experiences too.
Swing and a miss on the first pitch for Andrew Yu. You mentioned it earlier. Highfield's been effective for NC State, but the pitch count getting up there. Yu sends it deep to the gap right center field and into the wall. The catch is made by Noah Souls.
Then we've held our breath. How about both offenses opting to go backside against these aces on the bump? Andrew Yu getting a rare spot start, looking for a second hit of the game. I thought this had every piece of it to leave the yard. That's a really nice play. Great concentration up against the wall, but Andrew Yu, have yourself an afternoon.
We talked about it earlier. For a guy who's been known the past couple of years as a defensive catcher,
upperclassman becoming even maybe more known for his viral social media habits. His ability to recite every Major League World Series went viral earlier this spring. The bat maybe just as hot as the social media game, though.
Hard hit ball out to left field. Easy play for Josh Hogue, but not necessarily easily hit for Macon Winslow.
I like it. Highfield changing up a little bit. He's just throwing at barrels this inning, right? Not a problem. We're just in the zone. Stuff maybe not as sharp. Changes the attitude in the sense where, hey, I don't have to go hunt strikeouts, even though he's got 3. But 2 quick outs was exactly what the doctor ordered.
5 pitches to retire 2 so far. There's a first pitch cue ball down the first base side. The toss by Pennington, and Highfield is there. Eli Serrano takes top shelf, 1-0 the count. He's 0 for 1, struck out swinging in the second inning. One of 4 consecutive punch-out victims for Santucci at that point. Serrano bounces it over to second. Morris makes the play.
Misses up in the zone with 2 quick fastballs. We jinxed him a little bit, right? Attacking early in the counts. But I think everybody in the ballpark's thinking what I am as well. Serrano goes, all right, 2-0. I'm going to get one of those 95 mile per hour heaters. Oh, here's a backdoor slider. Get you to Ronnie rollover. And this is where, to your point, like, it's really rare for a Division I college pitcher to be a 2-pitch mix guy. Well, when you got his kind of stuff, it fits.
Weak off the hands. Another one for Morris. Santucci mimicking Sam.
Who needs him? The Triangle's taking care of business this year. They'll beat each other up. But come regional time, see multiple hosts up this way.
Yeah, NC State and South Carolina. Recent dropouts of the top 25 poll, but the way the Wolfpack's playing, took out Coastal, the number 13 team in the country, earlier this week. They're certainly capable of finding their way back in. South Carolina as well. All it takes is one good series in the SEC, and you get catapulted up those rankings again.
Yeah, kudos to Florida, right? With 8 losses, midweeks have been a nightmare in Gainesville, yet still find themselves in the top 10. But I think that's where ACC fans have something to maybe argue about a little bit, where in years past, the top tier of the ACC could play with anyone in the country. When you look at a Georgia Tech team who just got the best of NC State, the depth in the ACC this year has me going, hey, is this the best baseball conference in the country? Only time will tell, but a lot of star power.
Wallace Clark goes the other way, right to Brandon Butterworth at short.
Good piece of hitting, but sometimes, just like at the plate on the mound, it becomes contagious when you find that dialed-in, locked-in state where I think your coach is going, hey, this guy looks familiar to that 21 run as a youngster. There's a reason that he's the mayor, but I've been really impressed with his pace, right? He's been really efficient. Obviously, the last inning and a third. And to me, the velo hasn't moved it an inch, right? He's still sitting 91, 92. But dialed on both sides of the plate, it's been really impressive to watch.
This begins his 3rd time through the order. Zach Morris with a 1-1.
You know, we mentioned it what felt like 2 innings ago, but maybe 15 minutes ago in real time, right? With these guys so dialed, but it was that changeup the second time through the lineup. What's the adjustment the third, right? He looked a lot more comfortable that second time going to that premier pitch, as you mentioned it. Does he start to pitch backwards earlier in counts? Does he establish that fastball on the inner part of the plate? And we've seen it a ton on the outside part, but like we mentioned, good, great. What's the adjustment? We'll watch how he navigates this 3rd time through the lineup.
Morris watches. It's 3 balls and 1 strike. Ben Miller awaits in the on-deck circle. Foul ball and a full count. This will be the 6th pitch thrown to Zach Morris. That's the number of pitches Highfill has thrown in each of the last 2 frames.
Love that. It always takes the leadoff guy to get the offense back on track. It's that backside swing that took. Ooh.
Gets him looking at strike 3. Zach Morris has worked the count full each of his past 2 times up. Both times watched as he's fanned again by Highfill.
We hear me go, oop. We talked about having fun like you're playing in the backyard. That looked like a wiffle ball. How about that 2-seam action? Freezes him yet again. And to me, right, talk about pitching into the tendency. Morris goes backside up against the fence. He's now struck him looking on 2 fastballs on that outside part of the plate. Going, hey, I'm not scared to go back out there again. Unreal spot.
Miller with 2 away, empty base paths. Healthy cut, sends it into the net, 1-1.
Miller with that double the last at bat, but that hit by pitch in the first. We told you all about the numbers. How about Duke leading the country in hit by pitches as well this year? Talk about gritty. Sure.
At some point, it's a volumes game, right? Like right. You continue to hit, you're going to have more guys go up to the plate. It stands to reason more of them will get hit by pitches, but there's a skill to it.
That checks out. I think you see them all over the plate as well.
Miller punches it through the right side, his 2nd hit, and the 3rd time in as many tries that he has reached safely.
We see the big shift, all 3 NC State infielders on that left side of the second base bag. But I mean, come on, you teach this off a tee when you're 8 years old, right? He gets the foot down. I think, truthfully, we mentioned his last at bat. I think he's such a good hitter that he doesn't sit a pitch, he sits a spot. I think he's looking breaking ball. He gets a heater, peppers it the other way. I mean, this is a bat that feels like it could play professional baseball for a really long time.
Gracia squares to bunt again, looks at a strike after pulling it away. I say again, he squared his first time up. He's 0 for 2 with a couple of fly balls.
Yeah, but he showcased for a guy that's slugging over 600. You don't see a ton of one for hit spots.
Ooh. Now 2 strikes on him.
That was the hardest fastball of the day, up to 93. Reaching into the back pocket, making sure that he can officially record this decision. Pitch count right around 80. Will this be his last inning? I don't know, but feels like he's got a whole lot more in the tank with that one.
Highfill the 0-2. Lined foul. So Gracia will hang in there. He retains the count. Sam Highfill now into the 80s with his pitch count. Not something he or this NC State coaching staff is afraid of, running that up as long as he's effective. Another with 2 strikes.
I think it was a common theme. We've gotten away from those Friday night guys wanting to throw 110, 120 pitches. Let's protect the guy. Look forward to his professional career with an old-style coach. Think about what Quinn Matthews did at Stanford last year. You got an older guy, the mayor on the mound, that wants to showcase and show how proud he is to pitch for this university. Let it ride. Who cares? Pitch count doesn't matter. Bucket of ice. Nice run tomorrow. We'll be A-okay.
Gracia making it tough. Tried to bait him. Now 2-2.
Here's that changeup that we saw. He got him to fly out to left in that last at bat. I think that's a setup, right? Let's get him back out on his toes and let's see if he can get in on the hands. Here 2-2.
Lofted up into the air. Serrano high points it, has to come back in, but the catch is made. Order out of Western Carolina, an infielder, one of those many impact transfers for the Wolfpack. Looks at the first pitch slider for an 0-1.
The landscape of college baseball, ever changing day to day. But you like how it didn't necessarily have to be the big splashy move, right? Yes, they get that with East Carolina, but a guy like this who played a lot of quality baseball for the Catamounts and Cullowhee can come in and make an impact almost immediately through the middle of the field.
He's been a rock defensively as well. He was the everyday second baseman for Western Carolina. Comes into a program where, you know, it's an elevated jump to NC State. Now he's the everyday shortstop.
And don't you love, like, yeah, from a batting average standpoint, you're like, whatever, not enough volume to me in March. We'll take a look at that in late May once you're in the heart of conference play. But the moment's never too big for him, right? He loves when the lights are shining brightest. But from a defensive standpoint, I think a lot of coaches in the country are like, I don't really care what the middle of my field does. Catcher, short, center. This guy steals a ton of runs from a WAR perspective at that shortstop spot.
Battling with 2 strikes here. Santucci misses upstairs, and it is a full count. Nicked foul. Butterworth hangs in there. He'll see pitch number 9 of the plate appearance here.
I think it's that big breaking ball out of the zone. I think when you saw Butterworth look back and go, hey, Al, yeah, hey, but protecting with 2.
Just missed on the outside for Santucci. Was looking for the back door. And it's a leadoff walk for NC State. 4th walk drawn by a Wolfpack batter. Those have been their only 4 base runners.
I'd say goose eggs across the board, but for Santucci, a little surprised to not see him go to that fastball full there. That's the second time he's walked a guy's last 2 walks have been breaking balls, trying to back it up on that right side of the plate.
Yeah, last time it was to the freshman Nixon, who's now in the on-deck circle. As Noah Souls shows bunt, forces Ben Miller to sprint in from third.
That's why I've been a little bit surprised, especially with the goose egg. Solo shots don't beat you. Why not go attack those guys at the bottom of the lineup? 4 walks for Santucci is actually a season high for him.
On top of the strike zone, Souls wisely pulls back the bat head. And now a visit to the mound, the first of its kind for Jonathan Santucci. Out comes Brady Kirkpatrick, the second-year pitching coach for the Blue Devils.
Factor and a lot of the success on the mound that the Blue Devils have seen.
Miss outside of the zone following the visit. I think as you talk to Pollard about that last season and Santucci going down to injury. Ball 4 to Souls, so now 2 on. So much of their success was generated by the philosophy on the pitching side instilled by Brady Kirkpatrick. It was, we've got a lot of guys we're comfortable with for a short bit. We don't really have many that we're comfortable with making weekly starts. And it was instilled in the guys that basically, look, your role is going to change. Everyone's role is going to be fluid. We're just going to need you to buy in and toss well whenever we need you to toss well. And it's carried over into this year. They got Santucci back. That's something a little bit more of a crystallized rotation.
The buy-in was the big part, though, right? Like, all of these guys that pitched for Team USA were first-team All-Americans, yet the guy that came in and bought in almost immediately was Charlie Bielenson in that back end. So even on Friday, like, you show up to the ballpark and go, hey, what are we going to see out of that Duke bullpen today? Like, they can mix and match in such a way that, like, it's not set in stone every Friday night. And I think Bielenson, being that Brown transfer, came in and was like, hey, this is kind of what it looks like. Just be versatile.
Now a 2-1. Luke Nixon trying to get a bunt down. Lays off of the breaking ball. 3 balls and 1 strike with the top of the order waiting.
So this is textbook, right? First and second, nobody out, 9 hole up. I wouldn't be surprised to see a slash here, knowing that he's got to deliver a strike. He doesn't want to walk the sixth batter of the game.
Nixon pops it into the protective netting, now a full count.
And that was another breaking ball, 3-1. It almost begs the question, does that Duke bullpen kind of get going a little bit faster? Has he lost the feel on the heater here in the bottom of the fifth?
Another full count to Nixon. Went breaking ball inside again, just as the last walk drawn by Luke Nixon, and that is 3 consecutive free passes to begin the frame for Santucci.
Again, in another slider, right? So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you that we were right. Duke's going to get a guy going. Gabriel Nard, the righty. So with those hefty lefties, are going to turn to a righty. But right now, it feels like tendency, right? If he keeps missing with that breaking ball, why throw it in full counts? Well, fastball plays at 94 still, but it almost looks like the timing of that front foot landing and catching up, he hasn't been able to time it up. That's another high and away miss with the heater.
It's a called strike that time to make it 1-1 to Josh Hogue. This is quite the scenario for Santucci and the Blue Devils. Bounced up the middle, and they make the easy play at first while sacrificing a run. NC State ties it up.
Felt tailor-made, but because of the shift, your shortstop will come over, secure one. NC State's stoked about it. Double play now out of order. A base now open with, I don't know, is it fair to say without question their hottest hitter in the box?
One of, at the very least. And Alec Makarevich in the on-deck circle. 1-0 to Pennington. NC State, meanwhile, still hitless.
I was going to say, I didn't know what's the ruling on that, but now a 1-1 game, still looking for the first one. And Pennington feels like the guy to deliver.
High chop over to Miller at third. Needed a strong throw. It got there, but it drives in another for the Wolfpack. They lead 2-1 without recording a hit on Jonathan Santucci so far.
Said hits are overrated. Find a way to get on base, move them over. It's a season high 6 walks for Jonathan Santucci. And yes, maybe there's a mechanical fix, but give a lot of credit for NC State for staying disciplined within the approach and finding a way to just get runners on here in the bottom of the fifth.
Fastball misses high to Makarevich. 3 plate appearances now. He's been right-handed in all 3, the switch hitter. 0 for 2 on Santucci to this point. Leaves it where it is, which is a called strike.
Fastball. Remember in his last at-bat for Makarevich, it was a slider out over the plate. I thought he found enough barrel to sneak it up the middle. He looked a lot more comfortable in that second at-bat versus the first.
Makarevich takes a hack at one, maybe a bit high.
If you remember, he struck out on that fastball up in the zone in his first at-bat. He challenges him again. Now, does he go to the breaking ball way like we've seen? Is he getting challenged with the fastball? It feels like a heater spot.
Got a swing and a miss. Santucci gets out of the frame despite being hitless. Highfield's got a chance to continue his work with a lead here.
No problem. Coach, I haven't going to take a dub without a hit. I think any day, twice on Sunday. I'll tell you what, silver lining, whatever you want to call it, having this guy throw like he has today and to work himself into trouble like he did in that second inning, second inning, gets himself into trouble, gives up the 1. But to me, I saw everything I needed to see out of Heifel when he gave up that leadoff double to Miller. And then all of a sudden, looked like the light flickered a little bit, that competitive spirit, and he's been lights out since.
Close take for Logan Bravo. Now 1-2 to the Duke first baseman, who is hitting .500 this season when leading off of an inning.
That's pretty good. 500.
half the time.
Pretty good.
I would take it.
I know he's a Harvard transfer. It doesn't take a Harvard guy to know that I'd kill for that batting average, good sir.
And now 3 consecutive balls thrown by Sam Highfill to make it a full count. He's gotten Bravo with a couple of strikeouts in the first 2 times they have faced off. Once looking, once swinging. Bravo goes the other way, deep right field. Souls back to the wall and runs out of room. A solo home run. Logan Bravo ties it back up at 2.
This is a good pitch. Just a better swing. It didn't even look like he got all of it. But when you are the size of this big gentleman, look at the cornerstone, the first baseman, the Harvard grad. God, this is just a beautiful baseball swing. It's that just staple of a 2-seam fastball in the outside corner. He does enough to catch enough barrel, tie this ball game up.
Alex Stone yanks the first pitch he sees. High, deep into the corner, and out of play. Ooh, that seemed like we were going to get consecutive swings with a long ball.
And polar opposite approaches, yet not enough barrel, but it felt like Stone caught enough of that big breaking ball. And to me, not a huge surprise, but the trust in Highfill to record a decision and go through 5, great, but to get through 6 is such a big plus for that bullpen. Solo shots don't be. I love the trust in Coach Avent. Season high of 96 pitches thrown just 2 weeks ago against Boston College. Pitch count now up over 90. What's the leash look like? I think it's his 6th inning. Like, hey, we want to see if you still got it. Go be that guy. Massive to get them through. Tie ball game, not worried. But I love the trust instilled in his veteran right-hander.
It's Stone to reach again. This time he fouls it on the ground. Wave and a miss. Excellent pitch by Highfill. It requires a throw, but that's the first out. A good bounce back following the solo home run.
Word of the day response. I mean, this is such a big moment, right? Solo shots don't beat you. Facing one of the better hitting catchers in the country. And it was just a healthy dosage of breaking ball. We mentioned it was that changeup that second time through the lineup. He wanted to establish the heater the first time through. He has really utilized that breaking ball here the third time through the lineup as, again, he starts one off again for a big first pitch strike.
Andrew Yu's been aggressive at the plate. And he did come around, in fact. Brandon Hinson with the call over at first base. So now with an 0-2, this third pitch will be the most Yu has seen in a single plate appearance today.
He's wasted no time. He takes this breaking ball way out of the zone. I misspoke my last at bat. It was Chad Knight, viral sensation for his knowledge of the Major League World Series.
Come on, social media guy.
As a guy who thinks he knows social media, you have to understand. I had Knight interview you. Ooh, how about that breaking ball? Talk a little bit more about you, but let's talk about Highfill. Fill it up, young man. Another breaking ball, not once, not twice, not thrice. How about 4 to get the dangerous Yu? We've seen Yu just find barrels all day today. But look at this. I mean, that's true 12-6, where we saw earlier in the game it was a little bit sharper, a little bit tighter. I think for your stat tracks, your velo guys, a lot of spin, a lot of exit velocity, whatever. All I can tell you is that was just gross.
So Highfill gives up the home run, strikes out consecutive batters, and now a 1-1 to Macon Winslow. Just to let you clear your name.
Yeah, I need it.
You were all over the Chad Knight thing. It was just a simple misspeaking earlier.
SID extraordinaire, Aaron Sosha, they've done such a cool job of kind of what we mentioned, highlighting the student athlete at Duke in a way where we go, yeah, we've got like the intelligence of Duke, right? The proper up. These guys have had so much fun this year, and I think that's what college baseball is all about, right? Is this idea that, yes, these guys are wildly talented, top 10 team, but at the end of the day, having teammate interview teammate to show the true, genuine authenticity of like the craziness that goes on in these dugouts, and I mean both dugouts. They've done a great job of kind of putting that on full display.
Sam Highfill blows one by Macon Winslow. Partnering with NC State. It's Hurricanes Day. That was stormy. Their very popular mascot is Jonathan Santucci. Continues to labor here for the Duke Blue Devils. A quick 0-2 to Jacob Cozart. Santucci still yet to surrender a hit. Cozart lofts it up into the air. That's going to be within reach as it is squeezed by A.J. Gracia for out number one.
Is Stormy, two questions. Is Stormy and Sam Highfill available for photo op opportunities? Not asking for me, asking for a friend, obviously. But two studs in the building, Stormy, obviously. But Sam Highfill, 7 punchies to 1 walk, maybe his best outing of the day. He's going to ask for Stormy to come back every Friday night.
They're good friends. I can confirm Sam Highfill, you referred to him a couple of times as the mayor, big Carolina Hurricanes fan because he's a Raleigh guy, right? That's how you get such a moniker.
That checks out.
So talk about most bang for your buck, a photo with both of them.
Well, I didn't know that they were such dear friends. We mentioned the interviews in that Duke dugout. I think that we should have Stormy interview Mr. Highfill after this, I would say, season best outing today. I think that would play well.
Santucci trying the breaking ball in the front door there again. As he's done many times. Serrano wise to it, 3-1. Ball 4. Eli Serrano walks. Another base runner for the Wolfpack without recording a hit.
And yet again, there's another walk on that inside corner. He just hasn't really been able to dial in that breaking ball on that side of the plate. Was a little bit surprised to see him head back out. But as we took another look at Highfill in the dugout, that looks like a slot if you're a hitter. But in this second year as a sophomore, you've seen him grow as a man on the mound to be able to attack those righties as well. But a Southlake, Texas native, he's been facing some of the best competition from his high school standpoint, from his travel teams. And there's a reason that it's translated into being a really effective bullpen piece almost immediately.
Delivers a strike to Alex Sosa, the NC State designated hitter. A couple of ground balls to the right side of the infield in his 2 plate appearances so far. Up into the air, shallow center. Obi running in, slides, and makes the catch.
No hitter intact? Sure. We told you about the speed from Devin Obi is world class. Serrano seems a little surprised. And I think there's a conversation being had of whether this is going to be a fielder's choice or if it got caught in the air.
Well, I think the issue Serrano took with it is that, and I didn't see necessarily a signal from the field umpire closest and with the best advantage to make the play. I thought without the call, he had assumed that it hit the ground first.
Gotcha. Yeah, maybe a more emphatic call on like a 50-50. Did he trap it? Did he come and make the catch? I think the replay at home shows he clearly got that glove underneath.
Yeah, so they're going to proceed as they were. It's a fly ball to center field for Alex Sosa. A nice little web gem of a play for Devin Obi. And 2 away. Serrano continues as the runner at first. Brandon Butterworth lays off of the breaking ball that misses low, 1-0.
Great spot. And if you're wondering if it's more of the same, sure, it's just a different arm action. That three-quarter arm slot, it's almost from a short arm slot as well. But it's a two-pitch mix, right? A whole lot more fastball slider. But that big sweeping slider is his bread and butter.
Scoots Butterworth off the plate with the heater, 2-1. Same thing. Now 3-1 to Butterworth.
I think sometimes when you do have that big like sidearm lefty slider, the fear is with a righty in the box, you miss on that back foot.
Laced, and it's into left. Butterworth with NC State's first hit of the day. They're at first and second with 2 down.
No longer. But how about this fastball? It's a ton of arm side action. It just leaks out, catches too much of the plate. And the catamount transfer, all barrel. First knock of the day, great swing.
Souls watches in the opposite batter's box, dug up by Alex Stone. Now 2-0. It's got to feel for NC State like you got Santucci out with the way that he was throwing, still with a tie game. That's your first hit. You saw one find some empty space off of the bat, and it was hit hard. So
right, big barrel. And with the bottom of the lineup, though, if you're pro shot, I want to make sure that I'm attacking these guys and I'm not losing. This is the second at bat. He's now fallen behind.
And that's ball 4 to Souls.
And we'll lose entirely, right? Similar to what we saw with Santucci, sometimes almost getting a little too cute with that fastball early in counts, right? Like, hey, just go attack. Like, you've got enough movement on the heater where you don't want to deliver right down Broadway like you did in that 3-1 spot. I'd be shocked if we saw Nard other than for maybe Pennington in the 2-hole, right? Like, if it gets to the point where they're able to bang a couple across and they flip it over and you get Pennington in that 2-hole spot, Proch does not want to face him, so it feels like now or never.
First pitch to Nixon, off the mark, 1-0.
Blue Devil fans at home probably scratch their head going, hey, it looks like it caught the corner. I was Stone behind the plate being about as aesthetically pleasing of a receiver as you'll find.
Proch finds the strike zone there, 2-1.
Cleaner delivery. Looked like he got through it a little bit better too. Kept that front side closed. And again, I'm not going to try to pretend like I'm the smartest pitching guy in the world, but even on that finish there, it's like he's given up on it a little bit. And he's a guy that's getting a lot of action on that front side. So that front side's naturally going to fly open a little bit. But when he stays closed late longer, like he does there, execute a fastball in, I keep that front side late, tight, and then all of a sudden there's just so much quick twitch action out of a big 6'3" kid. It's like that timing, but this is a big spot.
Another full count. Ball 4. Close take, great take by Luke Nixon, and the Wolfpack takes a 3. Bases juiced. Gabriel Nard's first pitch to Josh Hogue at the top of the NC State order, fouled away. Wolfpack with just 1 hit, but they've drawn 9 walks today. And leading by 1, Nard with a 1-1.
See the numbers, the 3.2 ERA. They've used him a ton this year. The sophomore from his freshman year campaign has been really efficient coming out of the back end. They've seen him in middle relief. They've seen him in fireman positions, which is exactly what this is here. But the last time we saw him out was maybe his rockiest outing of the season. In 3 1/3 against Clemson, we saw him eat up some innings in that ball game. It was roughed up a bit.
Hogue sends it up into the air. Another sliding catch made by Devin Obie, and it retires the side. First hit. We're talking about earlier, Jack. A couple of sliding catches in center field. Big cut there, 1-1.
I think I've seen what's happened too, Darren. We've seen those NC State fans. They got a lot to smile about. I know it's March Madness. We're baseball people. The mayor felt like his position was being threatened a little bit. I think DJ Burns has given a lot of Wolfpack fans to be really excited the last 24 hours. There's a lot to smile about. Heifel's going, hey, I'm still the guy. Don't worry. I know it's March.
It is on the record that NC State's men's basketball head coach, Kevin Keatts, has said DJ Burns Jr. could run for mayor.
Well, after last night, it feels like it might be a runaway until Sam Heifel goes, 96 was my season high pitches. I will throw my arm off for this city.
He's been effective. Obie skies it into right. Souls on the run, dives and can't make it. Obie with his speed, easily at third with a triple.
Game of inches. Off of the bat, this is a pull side hitter. NC State's got him shifted as so. A ball that just narrowly misses. A diving Souls out and right, and all of a sudden we told you 21 miles per hour. This is legit elite speed. He's standing on third base, no time. First step always back. This situation, it's a no man's land, and it's a great effort. But Obie dang near runs his helmet off.
It took him, what, 3 strides to get from first to second? That's remarkable.
Kind of the bottom of the order here with Clark. It's a hunt a strikeout situation. I love the trust here. Let him work out of the jam.
The Blue Devils in 3 separate innings have had a leadoff double, now a leadoff triple, and a leadoff home run, which you just alluded to by Logan Bravo. I don't know if a leadoff cycle is a thing.
You just discovered it.
But they've done the one that is most, or they've not done the one that is most common in a single to lead off a frame. So the infield's going to be drawn in here for NC State to try to eliminate the possibility of the run scoring. And 2-0 to Wallace Clark. Fly ball into left. Plenty deep enough. After the triple run, that's a breeze for Obie, and it ties it back at 3.
A deja vu. I can't remember correctly. I think it was the last run that Duke scored was a sac fly to left field. Again, Wallace Clark not trying to get too big, stays within himself, shoots it the other way. And this is where, because you had that run lead, I know you're now tied up, but it was so important for Heifel to go back out and get another clean inning because he's rolling, he's grooving. In the ACC, we've seen monstrous scoreboards. So not to say that you don't trust in your bullpen, but as many outs that you can eat up to allow that bullpen to get to your key back-end guys was big. And I know the game's now tied up, but I love this opportunity to let him go finish his outing.
Morris fouls it away. To put a bow on something you just said, both sac flies off the bat of Wallace Clark, both to left field. They did have the solo home run in between, so it wasn't the last time they scored. But
right. But if you think about the outing, and if you're Heifel, you got to be really excited. And they didn't hit him hard today. This is one of the most potent offenses in the country. We ran it in our open. And he's kept them not relatively quiet, very quiet to their standards.
Zach Morris looks at a strike, now has a 2-2. He's been fanned each of his last 2 times up, is 0 for 3 today. Another strikeout for Highfill.
And here's where the mayor just might be back, folks. On pitch 116, 91 painted. The first at bat of the game, Morris takes him to 369 to right center field. Just nearly misses a leadoff homer. How does he respond? How about with 3 punches to that guy on that outside corner? He's been super special. 8 punches to just 1 walk. And the one word I know I've used 100 times, I'm going to say it one more time: intent.
Bouncer for Ben Miller. Butterworth with the throw. Pennington kept the back foot on the bag. What a play. Featured on a throw to Garrett Pennington here at first base to retire the side, getting us to the bottom of the 7th here. Pennington fouls it off of Gabriel Nard. 0-1 to the Wolfpack first baseman. Alec Makarevich on deck. Jacob Cozart in the hold. There's another bouncer up the middle this time. Wallace Clark fields it cleanly.
Tired and put away, but maybe nobody more excited than Makarevich to stand in the box on the left side. Finally, right? Got 2 lefties before. He didn't face Prosch, but a long day at the dish facing Santucci. He's got his hands full with Nard, but you're right. I think he's equally equipped in that left-handed batter's box. It feels like he's got a little bit more pop from this side of the plate without question.
0 for 3 from the right-handed hitting side so far against Santucci. Liner into the gap. Makarevich makes it count from the left-handed side, trying to stretch it into 2, and he does. First extra base hit for the Wolfpack.
He brings the juice with him. We told you, there's just a little bit more pop from the left side of the plate. The right side, the hand-eye is still spectacular. But this kid, I'm telling you, there's a reason he was the most sought-after transfer portal prospect on the Eastern Seaboard. The kid just rakes. It doesn't matter what ballpark in the country. Give me 99, you got a shot.
Man in scoring position for Jacob Cozart, hitless today, 1-0.
This feels like a spot already just 2 pitches in. With another lefty on deck, first base open, double play depth if you do walk him. I'd be shocked if Cozart gets anything good to hit.
Fouls it back.
And on cue gets a fastball down one way. I think Cozart, who's been pitched around all season, this lineup has made it difficult to pitch around him, but I think that's why he got it down just a few late.
Now a 3-1, which is obviously not ideal to a guy like Jacob Cozart. Ripped into right. Cozart drives in Makarevich, and the Wolfpack again leads 4-3 now.
Shocked. Why cave in, right? 3-1 to one of the best hitting catchers in the country. And you go back to the heater. He showed you 2-0. Hey, I wouldn't go there again. This is a fastball. You can see where Stone's set up on the outside part of the plate. That just catches far too much of the inner third. Come on. Look at the hands. It's one of the smoothest lefty swings in the country. He's fired up for the boys. Yeah, they won a Friday night dub, but even more so. How about Highfill back in line for a W?
Serrano scoots out of the way, 1-0. Nard misses the zone, 2-0 to Eli Serrano, who walked and came around to score his last time up. He had a really big bases-loaded plate appearance in the late going against Coastal on Tuesday. Drove in 2 with a single.
I'm so happy you brought that up, Taryn, too, because when I say pitch around Cozart in that spot, it has nothing to do with Serrano. He entered today hitting .315. He showed the pop. There's a reason he's hitting behind him. I just felt like with a double play potentially in order, I don't want to throw that guy, right? And Serrano burned Coastal on Tuesday in a really similar spot. So maybe that was fresh in the mind of that Duke, dugout. I don't know, but it'll be a conversation I'm sure that will be had.
Ball 4, good eye by Serrano. Now they're at first and second. Well, and we mentioned it in the first inning after Santucci walked the leadoff batter. That player, Josh Hogue, advanced to second, so it was suddenly, okay, runner in scoring position, I got to get 3 outs. He struck out the side, and the next 3 batters, with Cozart being the third, that was a situation where conventional thinking also would say maybe pitch around Cozart, but it's Santucci.
Right, and it's the first inning. Right, we're looking at a back-and-forth game here in the latter half in our last 3 innings. I want to take my shot with anybody but that dude. Like, there's a reason that guy's projected to finish somewhere in the first round in this year's 2024 MLB draft. Lots of conversations to be had, but the big one, 10 walks, 10 free passes in the ACC. Like, that's not going to play. Also shows how good on the mound they are to be in a 4-3 ball game and still have had walked 10 guys today.
1-1 here to Alex Sosa. Nard again with the strike zone there. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Sosa 0 for 3 today. Got his first career home run, the freshman, against Georgia Tech over the weekend. Looks at strike 3.
And that's a good pitch. There's the first changeup we've seen from Nard, and it's in that righty-lefty spot. Instead of going to the slider like he did against Cozart, he goes changeup here for the put-out pitch. But look at Stone behind the plate, maybe stealing a ball off. This is where, like, the K-zone for me takes away the beauty of, like, a guy behind the dish that thrives in stealing pitches, executes a perfect spot. Kudos to the stud behind the dish.
2 away. Brandon Butterworth looks at a strike. He's reached a couple of times in 3 tries, including a single his last time up. That was the first hit of the day for the Wolfpack. Big hack sends it backward. You mentioned Sam Highfill in line for the victory. We'll see if he comes back out on the other side. He's 1 pitch away from tying a career high.
Well, that looks like the guy that may be done for the day. That's the first time I think we've seen him smile in his best outing of the season. But I will hold my breath because twice tonight I thought otherwise.
Butterworth sends it to the opposite field. To right, the catch is made by Gracia, and it retires the side. Will it be Sam Highfill when we for Duke to lead off? 3, 4, 5 in the order, his first assignment. Gracia 0 for 3, all 3 fly balls. Bravo next, then Stone, the 3 to the plate for the Blue Devils here in the top of the 8th inning. Inside corner acquired by Duden, and it's 1-2.
This is the spot. Gracia a little upset, but it looked like it caught that inside corner. Cozart did a good job getting there late. Now Gracia's got to go to work.
2-2 after the bounce over. All right, we've been delighted to have sunshine throughout most of the afternoon here in Raleigh. The clouds starting to circle. This game was moved up by 5 hours to avoid, hopefully, rain.
Everyone in the area, feels like everyone in the entire Carolinas. We saw the list of top 25 teams. Everyone's pushed to earlier in the day to make sure you can get it in, especially in conference play. Not that the doubleheader takes away from it, but you want to see everyone straight up.
Full count pitch in on the hands. Gracia fights it off out of play.
Huntersville native. How about 95 in on the hands? That's a little freshy on freshy crime as a youngster is going to go home with a souvenir on the berm. To me, with Gracia, you mentioned the 3 pop-ups. It feels like I'm going right back to that fastball. Like I'm not slowing his bat up to go to an off-speed here.
The 3-2, take 2. Gracia lines it, 1 hop. Butterworth collects himself, poised, makes a throw to Pennington.
We're going to talk about it almost 2 innings ago, but how overused is smooth like butter going to be used this year in the ACC? It doesn't matter where on the field he is despite the shift. I mean, this ball's peppered a little bit. You see it checks up on him, almost like a good golf swing on the green, but Butterworth never seems like the game's moving too fast for him. Like you mentioned, the SoCon Western Carolina guy making his way into the ACC. I mean, that's one of the finer leathers that you'll find.
Logan Bravo watches one below the knees, 1-0. Solo home run to the opposite field his last time up. That tied it back up at 3 after NC State briefly had a 1-run lead. He did not go around there. 2-0.
And remember, it was a fastball that fell 2 pitches off of the plate, so his plate coverage big time. You can see it's a slider and everything in on the hands of Bravo, similar to Gracia. And at 94, 95, it don't matter for Bravo. He's going to hit high velo. It's all about spotting up.
Bravo hikes one up into the air. Deep center field. Serrano at the track there with just enough room to make the catch.
All right, you're going to call us crazy upstairs. This gets in on the hands. Like, Bravo does not catch a full barrel here, yet it sends the center fielder, Serrano, all the way up against the wall. We mentioned, I mean, if this ball is a half inch out over the plate a little bit longer, being 6'5", 225, he looks like an ACC tight end. If that creates just a little bit more of that barrel, that ball's clearing the batter's eye. He's got that kind of pop. Great spot on the mound from Duden.
1-0 to Alex Stone. Bravo not very far from what would have been a second game-tying solo home run of the day.
Whew. 97? That'll play in most ballparks, folks. Alex Stone has been playing the ACC for a long time. He hit the fastball with the best of them. But 97? Guys, that's a teenager on the mound.
The freshman Duden. The 2-1 hit on the ground. Nixon with the play from second. And within 1 run for the Blue Devils in their final try at the plate to at least tie it up in the top of the 9th. 8, 9, 1 batters due up here for NC State, beginning with Noah Souls.
Desperately looking for some insurance, as we talked about it off air. I got to imagine you send the young freshman back out looking for his 3rd save of the season.
Souls, a bloop that drops down in left field. And it's a leadoff single for NC State, just their 4th hit of the afternoon.
Souls is another guy where I hate the second leadoff term, but hitting in the 8-hole, he's a guy where you're just hitting 250, but an OBP now over 400. For me, I always keep an eye on that strikeout to walk ratio for hitters as well. What 15 walks to just 8 strikeouts? Like, that's a guy that going up to the plate with a plan.
Nixon gets down a beauty of a bunt down the first base side. Nard makes a good defensive play and records the out at first, but the sacrifice puts a runner in scoring position. Nixon, prior to that, 3 walks and 3 plate appearances, so maybe Souls there is like the 3rd leadoff hitter.
Sure. The more the merrier at the bottom of the lineup, and that was an interesting spot too, because you mentioned Nixon find a way to get on Nixon, I know the volume at just 38 at-bats coming into today, but a slugging .520 and an OBP over 400 in your 9-hole provided a ton of value down there. And in that spot, as a pitcher, I'm taught I got to throw at a guy, right, to turn and bunt. I think Nixon's bunting for a hit. I really think he was going to drag there. But he did a great job adjusting literally during the at-bat to pull it up the line.
There's a throw back at the runner Souls at second. Well, you mentioned Souls is a guy who they at times have liked in that leadoff spot in this order. So it's a testament to the depth and the type of hitters that they have within this NC State program, that they've got so many that are viable options.
They got 7 guys hitting over 300 right now. And Souls, to me, like, batting average is a number in the age of technology where if you look at his quality at bats, this guy's always finding a way on. It's a reason that he's a staple in this lineup.
Fly ball, pretty easy move for Devin Obie, and Souls is going to test the arm. Easily advances to third base.
I think this is a situation where Obie's got a big arm out in center field. This is by no means sending him back. I think Souls, that's just a high IQ baseball play. Maybe caught him sleeping. Maybe Obie's thinking it's a deep.
It wasn't Obie's. You don't get the running start on the catch to make the big crow hop throw.
I think he catches him sleeping a little bit. Find themselves in a little bit of a precarious spot, and that's where they turn it over to maybe their most reliable dude on the bump this season, in Jimmy Romano.
And that's saying a lot because they have plenty of dudes, plenty of certainly reliable dudes in this bullpen. Garrett Pennington fouls it away. He's got a 1-1.
Yeah, you say reliable, and they've got 3 All-Americans back there. The guy that broke the single-season appearance record back there. But for me, I say consistent. His jump from last year to this year, Romano went from a 6 ERA, 16 appearances, to just a 1 in already 8.
Got Pennington swinging over the top of a pitch that out of the hand looked like maybe it was going to be a head or two high of Pennington. Now the 1-2. Good take, even count.
And because you can see that big right-shaped, 8-4 action, this is why they thought he was the best at bat for arguably their best righty bat in the lineup.
Pennington waves and misses, and it retires the side, stranding a runner at third for the Wolfpack. They still lead it by 1, though. Blue Devils with their last chance in the top of the 9th to at least tie it. What a game this one's been. 4-3, NC State leads through 8. Game 1 of the weekend is set with the 9th-ranked Duke Blue Devils. Excellent starts out of Jonathan Santucci and Sam Heifel. Jacob Duden on the off speed gets a swing and a miss from Andrew Yu, as Duke with a run could tie it up and force a home half of the 9th.
That slider sitting on 95, and he breaks one off at 85 to catch the corner. And blink of an eye, you're already down 0-2.
You 1 for 3, a single and a run scored today. Can't connect. 3 pitches, 3 strikes. There's 1 away.
Filthy. And picking up right where Highfield left off. Duden has come in, and with every spot, right? 0-2, I'm not going to nibble. I'm going to throw you my wipeout, punch-out slider. Kozart does a great job of angling it off. Been the best defensive catcher in the country in the ACC. Maybe play rock, paper, scissors for that title between Stone, but does a great job of getting in front of that 87-mile-per-hour slider, which is no easy task, and great start to the inning for the Pack.
Macon Winslow's got a hit so far today. Fouls it away, 1-1 now. Devin Obie in the on-deck circle, a triple and a run scored his last time up. This has been, man, just a classic Friday battle.
Well, the ACC's been a juggernaut, right? We expect these like hit parades in the ACC these days. What I love so much out of Highfield was this idea that sometimes in a rut, you get swept by a team you felt like you were better than. Sometimes you just hand over the ball to the mayor and go get us out of this thing.
The 1-2. Duden just outside. He was 97 on the strike, 96 there on the miss.
And no argument. I think the spot was the setup in that batter's box and try to get him to nibble. Now can he leak it back in and catch that corner?
Sam Highfill in line for the win. If Duden can finish it out, and he gets a swing and a miss from Winslow.
That's exactly what they do, right? I get you to look 2 pitches out so that when I throw it there again, all of a sudden it's going to look more like a strike. But how about that spot, man? The ball just exploding out of the hand of Duden right now.
He's faced 5 batters. He's gotten them all out. Devin Obie, the last hope for the Blue Devils.
Starts him off with the slider. I think smart. Oh, we talked about Obie as a guy that likes to pull the baseball. We see 3 NC State infielders on the left side of the bag. He is looking to ambush and ambush early.
Miss low and in, 2-0 with Wallace Clark in the on-deck circle should he be needed.
Now you're in a tough spot. 2-0 fastball. You missed the spot. You don't want to cave in and let him go ambush, because I would be willing to bet with his speed, it's got to be a take a strike spot.
Ball 4. Obie heads to first base, and there's a man on for Wallace Clark.
So the conversation's got to be not if, but when. Right, 4 for 6 on the season in stolen base attempts is Devin Obie. We mentioned the speed, and Wallace Clark, who's been a reliable bat all day with runners in scoring position with those sac flies. You'd love for him to hit with Obie 180 feet away to tie it up.
Other than 2 sacrifice flies, Clark a line drive right to the shortstop in his only other appearance.
We're seeing him miss on that left side of the plate, similar to when we saw Prosch, who was kind of flying open a little bit. When you see high velo guys at times, as well as maybe a 3/4 like Prosch was, sometimes with those big levers like Duden has, the timing can get synced up.
The 1-1. Another one that just misses outside.
And on that side of the plate again, I wouldn't be surprised. Just have Kozar go run out there and be like, hey, the guy that's seen it, just go slow the game down a little bit for him.
Duden, the freshman, an out away from the save, gets a foul ball, and now he's a strike away.
Challenges him with a 95-mile-per-hour here. This is just best on best. Go close the deal.
2-2, sends it into the backstop. Obie moves into scoring position. And with a full count and 2 away, this is a massive swing pitch. Blue Devils a base knock away from tying it in the 9th. NC State a strike away from winning. Called strike 3. Clark watches. And the Wolfpack secures a Friday Game 1 victory.
Yo, listen up. Let me tell you about love and loss. The hearts collide, the lines are crossed. In the dance of passion, we find our way. But sometimes love leads us astray. From the highs of ecstasy to the lows of pain. Love's a roller coaster, driving us insane. In the warmth of affection, we find our bliss. But when it's gone, we're left with emptiness. Love and loss hand in hand. In the journey of life, where we make our stand. Through the tears we shed and the battles we fought, we'll find solace in the lessons taught. In the depths of despair, we search for light, but sometimes love fades like stars in the night. In the silence of solitude, we mourn the loss, but through the pain, we'll rise like moss. For love's a journey with twists and turns, but even in darkness, a new flame burns. In the ashes of heartache, a phoenix rises. With love as our guide, we'll find new surprises. Love and loss hand in hand, in the journey of life, where we make our stand. Through the tears we shed and the battles we fought, we'll find solace in the lessons taught. For let's cherish the love we have in this fleeting life. For in love's embrace we find no strife, and though loss may come, we'll carry on. For love's eternal flame will never be gone. Yeah, in love and loss, we find our strength. In the ebb and flow, we'll go to any length. For in the tapestry of life, love's the thread, binding us together even after we're dead.